Hey loves, welcome back to another tutorial. So today's video we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful maxi dress. This dress has an open back and it is a very simple tutorial. So if you're interested in knowing how we achieve this style, please keep on watching and don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel. For this tutorial, I'll be making use of this beautiful Ankara fabric and I have 6 yards here with me. The amount of fabric you will use depends on how full you want your gathers to be. As you can see, mine is full and is long. So if you want a short gathers, you can make use of less fabric. Or if you want your gathers to be scanty, you can make use of less fabric. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video. Here, I've folded my fabric into two, as you can see. This is what we are going to use to cut out the front piece, which is the only piece we have for this dress because there is no back. So I took note of the following things before cutting out this piece. First of all, I took note of the full length I want. And here I have 19 inches, including the extra allowance that I need for this dress. For the width, I measured out my bust measurement, which is the highest part of my upper body, plus extra 5-inch allowance because we are going to add enough allowance. So that is all you need for this piece so that you'll be able to begin our measurement. First, I'm going to start with my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So I'm going to mark 8 inches. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to mark my neck width, which is 3 inches. I'm also going to mark my neck depth, which is also 3 inches. So I'm going to connect a curve to form my neckline. So now I'm going to mark my shoulder slope of 1 inch. So I'm going to go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and then I'm going to connect the line to the neckline. So the next step is to mark my chest measurement. So I marked my chest measurement, which is 8.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect this with a straight line. Here I decided to get a more visible chalk, so I'm remarking the line so that it will be more visible because I'm cutting on the fabric. After connecting a straight line across on my chest line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust point. So I'm going to mark my bust point, which is 12 inches, and then I'm going to connect a straight line as well. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to connect from my shoulder slope to the chest line for our armhole curve. For my waistline and half cut, I went down by 17.5 inches. This is where the gathers is going to start on the waist. So once I marked that, I went ahead to connect a straight line across. After that, I'm going to add extra 1 inch for allowance because we need allowance here for the joining. So I marked that as well. Once I'm done, I'm going to cut off the excess that we don't need. So here, I'm going to create my armhole curve. So I'm using my free hand to create a curve for my armhole. So I did that and then I'm going to proceed and cut out the parts we don't need anymore. Here I'm going to proceed with my horizontal measurements. So on my chest line, I marked my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inch for ease and then extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. The ease is to make sure that our breast is not coming out on the side, especially if you're a bust, you don't want your breast to be popping out by the side. So I connected the same thing on the bust points and then on the waistline, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch for that, extra 1 inch for sewing allowance and then 1.5 inch for the ease. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to connect all the points together and then cut off the parts that we don't need. For my dart, I marked half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches. So I also marked my dart length of 3.5 inches. Then I went out by half inch on both sides and then I connected my darts. So the next step is to work on the shoulder. So here on the shoulder, I'm going to find the midpoint of the shoulder line and what I have there, I'm going to mark it and then I'm going to come down by 3 inches. This is going to be my strap, part of my strap for the front. So I came down by 3 inches and then I'm going to draw a straight line. From the straight line that we marked, we are going to connect to the armhole now, just the way you see me doing, just connect like this on the armhole. So here on the neckline, I'm going to come down by 5 inches because normally what we have there is 3 inches. So I came down by 5 inches, as you can see, and I mark. That's how low I want my front neckline to be. You can decide to go deeper if you want your cleavages to show, or you can even go up by about 2 inches, depending on your choice. So I'm going to connect it all the way to that same line with a curve. This is like a sweetheart neckline. But then I later changed my mind. I didn't want it to be like this. So I made it a bit straight. So here you can do anything that you like. You can make it straight if you want to have like a square neckline. So I later came down with about ½ inch for mine, as you can see. So that is the one I'm going to use now. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. So before we cut this off, remember what we have there is 3 inches. It's going to help us for the strap to get the accurate measurement. So just take note of anything that you came down with when you're cutting. So here I was done, and this is what we have when I open it up. This is the neckline that we have, as you can see. And now we are going to proceed to cut a lining, because we are going to use a lining to turn this. Here I have my lining piece. I'm going to use this fabric as my lining piece. You can decide to use the normal lining. It's all good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my lining now. I'm going to cut out exactly what I have here. Always make sure that you know the one that is the main fabric that we are using. Whenever I'm using the same fabric for my lining, I always use right sides facing each other, so that when we turn it, you don't even know the difference between the front and the back, and the inside will look so neat as well. So once I'm done, I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch all this together. I'm also going to take in my darts as well, and make sure you notch your darts. So here I'm going to cut out a strap that I'm going to use for the sleeve. So guys, here is a video of how to take your strap measurement. So remember the 3 inches that we took earlier. I'm going to place it on my shoulder like this. You see where the 3 inches is starting, and then I'm going to move it around and stop at my armpit, the way you are seeing it on the screen. So this is how our sleeve, our strap is going to look on the dress. So can you see? This is going to help you to get the correct measurement. So this is the one I cut out myself, and this is how it looks. It is 13 inches long, just like you saw in the video. So this is how we are going to place it. On this armpit side, I'm going to connect it all the way to this shoulder, as you can see, just the way you're seeing it on the screen. So guys, when you're cutting out this strap, if what you got is 13 inches, just like I got, use the 13 inches. Don't add any extra allowance for the join. Just if you measured your armhole and you got 13 inches, just use 13 inches. This is because I'm going to turn this with my lining, just the way you see me doing on the screen. So when you're turning this, you take about ½ inch inside. Like when it comes to that strap part, you take about ½ inch. This way you're going to make sure that this strap is going to fit you. It's not going to be removing when you wear it. But if you add extra allowance, you might not really get the correct measurement. It will start becoming loose. So just to be on the safe side, I suggest you just don't add any allowance. It is still going to fit you, trust me. So here I'm going to pin this together. As you can see, I connected it exactly how we are going to sew it, on the armpit and then on the tip of the shoulder. And then I'm going to close it up and use my pin and hold it together. Please guys, when you're adding your strap like this from the inside, make sure that you set it straight so that it will not be rumpling or just folding. Just make sure that it is straight on the inside. So make sure you set it very well before you close it up. So once I'm done, I'll go over to my sewing machine and secure all this together. Here I was done sewing it together, and this is how it looks when I flipped it. This is so pretty. You won't even know the difference between the front and the back. And our strap is also sitting pretty as well, as you can see. Also gone ahead to sew in my darts. Now we are going to work on the lower part of this dress. So I'm going to take the measurements I have here on the waistline. And remember, this includes both the ease allowance that we added. So what I have here is 20 inches. So I'm going to make it like ×2, or depending on the amount of fabric I have left. So this is the fabric I'm going to use, and I don't really know how many yards I have here. I just divided the fabric I have into 2. I'm going to use one for the front and I'm going to use one for the back. So I'm going to measure it as well to know how many inches I have exactly. So what I have now is 2 yards and some inches. So I'm going to work with that. So I'm going to use one part of the fabric for the front and one for the back. So now I'm going to gather all this at this front. I'm going to leave about ½ inch allowance. And for the back, this is the band I'm going to use for the back, because the back will need a band to stand, unless you want to add elastic to yours. I don't have elastic, so I decided to add zipper to mine. The length of this band is 2.5 inches long when it is unfolded. And to cut out your band, you need to divide your waist measurement by 4. And then whatever you have, that's how you're going to cut it, plus extra 1.5 inch or 1 inch for your zip allowance. That is how I cut out this band. So the fabric I'm using for the back gathers, I split it into 2 equal half, and I'm going to use them and gather on each of this band. And then after that, I'm going to add my zipper. So I'll go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to do the gathers. So this is how I like to do my gathers. I gather as I sew, because this is where I'm going to have control on how I want it to be. So yeah, I gather as I sew, and that's how I did all the gathers. This is how the front looks when I was done gathering, and as you can see, it's looking so pretty already. The dress is coming up and I'm so in love, honestly. So I love my gathers. It is a full gather, and this can only be achieved if you have enough fabric. So for the back as well, this is what we have, and it's looking so pretty as well. The next thing left for us now is to add our zipper at the center. This is the zip I'm making use of, so I'll go over to my sewing machine and attach it to the dress. Now it's time to join the front and the back piece together, and I'm going to do that right sides facing each other. If you notice now, the front and the back piece, they're not the same. The front is bigger. That's because we added ease allowance to the front so that our sides will not be revealing. So now I'm going to attach this with my pin, and when you're joining this, please make sure that your band is before the gathers. Please, it's not going to come after the gathers, so make sure it's before the gathers. I also pinned this side as well, and I'll go over to my sewing machine and secure the sides. I'm going to sew it down all the way to the end of this fabric. So once I'm done with that, we are going to see the final result. So guys, I'm done, and this is how it turned out. It turned out really pretty and I'm so in love. So when I was testing this dress, guys, I found out that it was gaping at the armhole. So I didn't want this to be loose on me, so I decided to take it in with half inch of side darts. So this is something you would do if yours is also gaping as well. This is common with this type of style. So once I took the dart, it was fitting perfectly and I really loved it. This is how the back is looking, and it's looking so pretty as well. I'm so much in love with this dress. So guys, if you found this tutorial very helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel, guys. Please subscribe so that you support this journey. If you've watched this point, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.